Hello. Sorry I can't be there today, but as you can see, other commitments have prevented me from making the long journey south. But I did want to send you this special message to all of you at the forum. In my lifetime, our perspective on the ocean has radically altered. As I was growing up, the space race and the NASA moonshots provided a new vision of our world. Christmas 1968, when William Anders on Apollo 8 took what some call the most important environmental picture in history. Some say this was actually the start of the environmental movement itself. It showed our world, small, blue, finite, hanging in the dark void of space. As I move through life towards my 6th decade, we find another jolting change in our perspective on the ocean and life on Earth. And that's that we're fundamentally altering the blue bit, nearly 3/4 of our world and much more by volume, our ocean. How are we altering it? We're warming it. We're causing it to become more acidic and to hold less oxygen. We've taken too much out, such as fish, and put too many unwise things in, such as plastic and pollution, all within my and your lifetimes. The reality is that we now know the ocean has been our amazing friend, sheltering us from the otherwise runaway impacts of climate change. If it wasn't for the ocean absorbing heat since the 1970s, some say the land surface temperatures would be some 36 degrees centigrade higher than they are now. But all this has taken a toll on the ocean's health. How much longer can the ocean keep up this pace? Well, we simply don't know. But what we do know now is that we need to return the favour. We need to give the ocean a breathing space to recover, to rebuild resilience in the face of these exponentially increasing demands. And we have a critical role to play in that process. And we need to make sure we have all the right tools in the toolkit to provide that space to make this happen. And one of those tools you may have heard about is blue carbon. Blue carbon is the carbon trapped in coastal vegetation like mangroves, saline marshes and seagrass beds. And I've had a particularly close relationship with this topic, as it was back in 2009 that we launched the first report on this issue. And it showed the critical need to protect these vulnerable ecosystems. Occupying just 2% of the area of tropical forests, our lack of care shows these coastal habitats are responsible for some 10% of global emissions of carbon dioxide. Yet if properly managed, they keep trapping carbon better through their lifetime than forests ever can. So there's hope, and they really matter. But there was another reason why I was so keen in blue carbon, and this is because blue carbon elevates that stewardship role of coastal communities on that one service that has a global connection: climate change. Governance and action with the people for all the people. And it was indeed partly blue carbon that stimulated IUCN in the same year, in 2009, to develop the idea of natural solutions. And this is working with nature to provide greater benefits to society and the earth. As I reflect on what's happened in the last few years on natural solutions, we've seen a massive growth in interest and action in rebuilding coastal resilience. If you put blue carbon together with high levels of protection, we create climate reserves, which do their bit for conservation and climate change mitigation, enabling wildlife to flourish, but also keeping carbon in the ground to be better managed, keeping the carbon in the place it's meant to be and not lost and released to the air. Never before have such actions, I think, been more important or needed. And in the last couple of months, we've seen the effects of storms on local communities from Asia to the Caribbean to the USA. And our thoughts are with all of those still affected. A warming ocean is resulting in more intense storms. A warming ocean is bringing dramatic changes to marine life, with science showing that more intact ecosystems are much better to cope. By investing in coastal marine ecosystems, by better protecting and managing them with the community, we have a chance to lessen such impacts and speed up recovery when impacts have occurred. In the coming years, we need to explore and agree how countries can acknowledge these new tools for coastal marine resilience under the UN Climate Change Convention, further adding substance and recognition to the very real actions now taken by coastal communities around the world. Joining up action across the UN Climate Convention and the Convention on Biological Diversity as never before. Finally, on a related note, I was lucky enough to see some of you at the recent 4th International Marine Protected Area Congress, better known as Impact 4, in Chile. In the lead up to Impact 4, I was pleased to receive a proposal from Senegal to host Impact 5. Now, whilst your bid wasn't ultimately successful, I hope you'll work with the chosen host for Impact 5, Canada, to make a further proposal to bring Impact 6 to Africa after that. Only by working together in this way, by sharing information, sharing a vision, and sharing determination, will we act for the ocean. As I say, I'm sorry I can't be with you at the forum, but I wish you all the best with the meeting and your discussions, and I look forward to hearing about the outcomes. Just remember, there is still time to act. Now is the time to act, and we owe our ocean a great debt that now needs to be repaid for all our benefits.